Hello everyone, in this video we're gonna see how to create this Christmas poster that you can see in here using Adobe Photoshop. But before we're gonna do that, Merry Christmas to everyone, and don't forget to subscribe and comment and leave a like. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so let's go and open Photoshop, and I will go to File, New. Let's create a file using, let's keep 3000 for the width. So I'm gonna change the height to 3500. I will keep the resolution 72 and I'll press OK. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do is to create a background, or like to composite a background. So these are the files that we are going to use for this video. So the first one I think I want to add is this one. So we'll drag it and open it in here. And this one I want it to be like a far background. Yeah, but I don't like this branch in here, so I'm just gonna try to hide it somehow. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think this will work. Alright, maybe a little bit up. Alright, something like this. I think it will be okay for now. Now we'll go back and let me see this one. I think I will drag it again. This one I want it to be maybe a little bit bigger to cover a wide area of the center of the image. Maybe this area in here, something like this. I mean, the good thing about working with snow is like it has like this kind of hills, so it will be easier just to make a selection and cut it, and it will blend perfectly. So I think it will blend in here very good. I will just one click on this check mark, and I will put back the opacity 100. And using the pen tool, I will go and create a selection of these hills in here. Alright, as you can see, I create a roughly selection or a path, and I close it. Now I right click and choose make selection, and let's keep the feather set to 0.5, and I will press OK. And now I can just apply a layer mask. Now I have to invert it, so I'm gonna press Ctrl Command I, and there we go. We have our heel in here that will blend very good, and we can always go back and change the placement of it. Alright, I think it looks good. So I think I'm gonna create another copy of this actually. So I'm gonna press Ctrl Command J to duplicate it. And let's delete this layer mask. And this one I think I want it to be a little bit down somewhere in this area. Maybe a little bit bigger. So I want to use this area in here. Alright, something like that. And I will one click, and now I'm gonna apply a layer mask. And using my brush, a normal brush, I will start deleting, and I will try to fade with the other snow. Something like this. I think it will look interesting. See how easily it blends because it's the same image, the same values, so it looks good. Alright, now we'll go back to my file, and I will open this one in here. And this one I want it to be in front. Let me actually copy it and paste it in here. This one I want it to be a front snow. So maybe a little bit smaller. Yeah, something like that. And I want this heel to be in the front of everything. So this one we're gonna just leave it for now, and we can go back and play with it too. Alright, now let's try to blend this color with this color. So to do that, I will go to the background, and I will go to adjustments and choose levels. And then I'm gonna clip it to this first image that we have in here. Now using my levels, I'm gonna try to actually match the color as possible as I can. Maybe playing with the output. All right. Yeah, something like this. I think it will fade very good with the other color. And it needs to be a little bit bright because it's in the back, far in the back. So it needs to be a little bit brighter than the other image or the other images. All right, so I think this will look good for now. Maybe I can go ahead and blend this using my brush. All right, I think it looks okay. And this will be our background. So I'm just gonna group everything by selecting this background in here that is visible, the first one. And then by pressing Shift and holding it, I'm gonna select all the layers, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command G to make a group, and let's call this BG for background. And now we have the background, and also we have this front snow in here that we're gonna use later. So let's call it front snow. Okay, now we will go and place the tree that we'll be using. So I'm just take it and open it in here, and maybe make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, somewhere around here. And then I will go and open the image of the girl, just like that, to be in front of the tree. Maybe I will flip it horizontal. Yeah, something like that. But I think I will delete this gift that we have in here, because we already have the gift near to the tree. All right. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to do actually is to blur this background in here. So we'll go and select it, and then I will go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I will put like 4 or 3 pixels in the radius in here, and I will press OK, just to have them a little bit blurred. All right. Okay, so next I will go back to my file, and I will open this tree in here. I want it to be actually in the edge, to be just like this. All right, and then I will make a copy of it, and I will make another one in here, just like that. Maybe this one a little bit higher, and this one a little bit inside, and this one a little bit outside, something like this. All right, I think it looks really cool like that. Now I'm gonna group everything together, the front trees. I will select them both, and I'm gonna press Ctrl Command G, and I will call this front trees. And then this one of the girl, I will call it girl. And the tree, the Christmas tree, call it a Christmas tree. All right, now we have everything in here clean. Now I will go to this front snow that I wanted to add. Choose this one. So I'm gonna put down the opacity a little bit, and to see where I want to place it. So I'm gonna press Ctrl Command T, and maybe I will make it a little bit smaller. And the idea is to hide a little bit of this tree that we have on the right using this hill. Yeah, I think I will use this part in here. I'm gonna make it 100%, and then I'm gonna apply layer mask, and using a brush I will delete until I see where I want to hide everything. Yeah, something like that. I think it looks interesting. This one I'm gonna make the brush a little bit harder. I will start deleting, following this hill like that. All right, something like this. I think it looks really cool. I'll make my brush softer again. And again, I will start deleting in here. I think it looks really cool. Now let me unlink the layer mask from the layer. And then I'm gonna select only the layer and press Ctrl Command T. And I'm gonna try to adjust the placement of this snow somewhere right here. Maybe rotate it a little bit. Alright, so I think it looks really cool. Now we can go ahead and start color matching everything together. And there is a trick that we can use using the selective color from the adjustments in here. So we'll open it. And the first thing that we are going to do is to make sure that we have it in absolute, not relative. And then all the red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, we need to put them minus 100, all of them. And then the white and the neutral and black, we're gonna put them plus 100. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing that. Alright, as you can see, we have everything set. Now, for us not to do this every time, you can just go and save this as a color preset and give it a name. And then whenever you want to do this again, you can just find it in the custom in here. Alright. Now, as you can see, this part is not matching very good with the other background that we have. Now we have almost everything is black. Only this part that is in the front that it's supposed to be a little bit lighter. But let me actually see, we have something in the background that is not right, which is good to know. Yeah, this one, it needs to be a little bit down, as you can see. So I'm gonna press Ctrl Command T while I'm selecting it, and I'm gonna put it down. Just like that. And then using my brush, I will select the layer mask. Actually, let me remove the selective color. And I will make sure to paint white in this area in here to have it cover. Alright, now we have everything set. Alright, so let's try to fix the girl first and then the tree. They are the one that they need to be a little bit toned down, because as you can see, they are so bright and we need to fix that. So let's start with the girl. I'm gonna open the girl folder and then select the layer, and then I will go to hue and saturation, and I'm gonna clip it to the layer. And then inside the hue, as you can see, we have this hand in here. When you select it, it will turn your cursor to this eyedropper. So just one click to the place that you want to change the color and drag. And as you can see, it will match with the environment that we have. And I will do the same for the sweater, just like that. And maybe a little bit more. And the same, I will do the same for the tree in here. So I will go and open the Christmas tree, and I will select it, and again apply a hue saturation adjustment layer, and I will clip it again, and using the same little hand, I will go to one of the brightest areas, and I'm gonna put it down just like that. And now if I remove the selective color, you can see how everything will match much better with the background. And of course, if you found it a little bit strong, you can always go ahead and put down the opacity a little bit. And I will do the same for the girl adjustment layer, just like that. Now I want to apply a night filter to this, or a night adjustment on top of everything. So I will select the front snow, and I will go to adjustment, and I will choose color lookup. And then I will open the 3D LUT, and I will choose either night from day or moonlight. So let's go for moonlight. And let's actually apply another adjustment, this time levels. And I'm gonna make it a little bit darker using this white output, just like that. Alright, I think it looks interesting, but it's a little bit blue for me. So let's go ahead actually and apply a hue saturation adjustment and go to the master and choose blues. And I'm gonna put down a little bit of the blues in here. Alright, something like that. I think it looks really cool. I'm gonna group all these adjustments in here, and I'm gonna press Ctrl Command G, and let's call it night filter. Now we have a night filter in here. Alright, I want to apply a glow to this star. Also to make this look lighter, of course, because of the light from the tree. I want it to be very glowy and shiny in the night. And to do that, we're gonna actually make a copy of this Christmas tree or duplicate it using Alt. So I will press Alt and hold it, and I will make a copy on top of everything, just like that. And then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command J to make a copy of it. And I'm gonna change this to linear dodge add. And this will make it bright quite a bit. Now I'm gonna duplicate it again by pressing Ctrl Command J. And this time I will go to Filter, Blur, and I'm gonna choose Gaussian Blur. And let's give it like 10 pixel. And then I'm gonna create a copy of this one that it doesn't have any blur. This one. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl Command J again, and I will put it on top. And then I will go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And this time I'm gonna put 30 or 35. Just like that. Now let's actually create another copy of the same image. And then I will go to Filter again, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And this time I will put 60 pixels, or maybe even 70. And I will press OK. Alright, now I'm gonna group everything together, all the copies that we have from the tree. And I'm gonna press Ctrl Command G, and let's call it glowing tree. Alright, now we have a glowing tree on top of everything. Now I'm gonna apply a black layer mask by pressing Alt or Option on my keyboard and one click, and this will hide everything. Now using a brush, I will make sure to have the opacity set to 100, but the flow I will put it around 50, and I will start painting just like that using white as my foreground color. I will make sure that the star is glowing the most, just like this. Now we'll go to these balls in here, and I will make them glow a little bit. The same goes for these lights that we have in here. It's like that. Maybe drop down the opacity of the brush. And I will keep doing like this for all the tree. Alright, now we have a little bit of a base. Now I'm gonna create another copy of this group by pressing Ctrl Command J again. And then I'm gonna delete this layer mask. And I want all this group, the one that I make a copy of, to be in one layer. So I'm gonna create a new layer on top. And then I'm gonna select this new layer with the group. And I'm gonna press Ctrl Command E on my keyboard. And this will make it as a layer in here. And let's call it glow. And I will go to Filter, Blur, and I'm gonna choose Gaussian Blur. And I will make it very blurry, like 100. And I will change the blending mode of this to, let's go with color dodge. And I will drop down the fill quite a bit. Let's see, something like this. I think it looks interesting. Now there are some lights that are a little bit strong. You can easily fix that by going to the other folder and using your brush. And I will drop it down a little bit for all the lights that I think they are strong. I think mostly this one was a little bit strong. Now everything else, it looks really cool. Maybe a little bit more of the light in this part. And the parts of the gift. Now the other thing that you need to keep in mind, all these are on top of all the layers, which mean the girl layers too, it's down. So we need to make sure that all the lights are not interfere with the girl for now. And I think we are doing fine. Now the other thing that we can do is to create a solid color. And let's choose a warm orangey color or yellowish. Yeah, something like this one. And then I'm gonna change the blending mode of this to linear dodge add. And I'm gonna make the layer mask to black by pressing Ctrl Command I. and using a brush, and again make sure that the brush opacity is a little bit lower, and also the flow like 10%, and maybe the opacity like 70%. And then we'll go and make our star glow even more, something like that. And the other thing that makes it easier, if you make your brush bigger and smaller, it will add very interesting glow to the whole thing. And I will do the same for the other stuff. Maybe a little bit in the floor or in the snow. Yeah, something like that. Maybe it's a little bit strong. So let's put down the opacity a little bit lower. And let's paint in here. And in this hill too. And I want actually to make a selection of these front trees, both of them, by pressing Ctrl, one click, and Ctrl, one click. You can add to the selection by pressing Ctrl Shift or Command Shift. And now we have both of them selected. So I will go back to my color fill in here, and I will actually brush on top to have a little bit of the light reflect to the tree in here. All right, something like that. And a little bit more on the floor. Now it's a little bit strong, but we're gonna fix that in a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna drop down the opacity. And I will go back using black as my foreground color, and I will delete from the parts that I think they are a little bit strong. All right. Yeah, something like that. I think it looks really cool. Now we're gonna group all the glow in here, and let's call it glow. And let's go and put a little bit of shadow to the girl in here. So let's go to the girl folder, and I'm gonna create a new layer underneath by pressing Ctrl Command, and let's call it shadow. All right. Now using the same brush, I will actually sample color from the ground in here, maybe a little bit darker. And let me put the flow a little bit up, and I will start painting under the shoes in here. Like a shadow like this, very simple. Alright, I think it looks really cool. And I will drop down the opacity a little bit. And I will switch to the eraser tool. And I will delete a little bit from this part that I don't want to be that much. Alright, I think it looks really cool. I like it. Now I'm gonna start to add a little bit of light to the girl. And I don't want to do it in the group. Or maybe let's actually create a solid color first. And let's actually put a bright orangey color. Something like this one. And again, change the blender mode to linear dodge add. And I'm gonna clip it to the girl. And then I will inverse the layer mask to black. And I will start painting using my brush. And again, I have very low flow with a 50% opacity. And I will start painting in the edges like that to have some rim light. Maybe not that strong. Like that, maybe in this side too. And if you don't like the color, you can always go back and change your color. For example, I don't think this is a good color for this. Maybe a little bit more orangey, yellowish. Let's see. Yeah, I think like that it looks much better. Alright, and then I will drop down the opacity a little bit. And I will delete a little bit from this part. Add in this part too. Alright. Now I'm gonna load the selection of the girl by pressing Ctrl or Command and one click, or you can right click in this pixels layer and choose select pixels, and then I will go up above all the layers and I will create a new layer and I will call it silhouette, or let's call it girl silhouette, and then I will fill it with whatever color I want, and I will drop down the fill to 0%, and then I will go to the blending options. And let's actually use the inner shadow for this to have a really nice like light in the edges. As you can see, I have the blend mode set to color dodge with a yellowish color like that. And you can easily place where you want the color to be. For example, for me, I want it to be in this part. I want the color to reflect from this. So I want all of this to be having a little bit of color. Maybe the size and the distance to be a little bit less, and the size a little bit more, something like that. And I would add another inner shadow, and this time I want the size to be 1% or 1 pixel, and using the same blending mode, color dodge, I have it 100. Maybe I will put the size like 2 pixels with 1 pixel of the distance. Alright, and I will press OK. Now, obviously, we need to delete some of these details that we have in here. So to do that, without affecting our blending options, we're gonna create a group, and we're gonna put the girl silhouette in the group. And let's actually name this girl silhouette. And then I'm gonna apply a layer mask on this group, and then I can go and delete from where I don't want to be shown from the blending options. Yeah, for example, this part in here, maybe this is okay, this one no, and maybe this part no too. So all the areas that you think they are a little bit too much, you can go ahead and delete them. But I think I'm happy with this. I want it to be a little bit exaggerated, which is okay. All right, so I think we are almost finished. We just need to apply some adjustments and we are ready to save this. So the other thing that I want to add is a little bit of highlight on this, curves of the clothes and everything. Now, there are many ways to do this. If you have a tablet, you can use your stylus. If you have a very good skillful hand using your cursor, you can do that. But there is always a simpler way to do it using the pen tool. So let me show you how. So I'm gonna select the pen tool, and then I will go and follow all the edges that I want to emphasize the light on. For example, this part in here. And then when I finish with the line, I'm gonna press Ctrl or Command and click outside of it. And I will do the same for this. And I will keep doing like that until I'm done. Now, as you can see, we have all the lines. Now we'll go and save those lines by going to the Path tab, and I will double click and I will call this lines. Now we'll go back to the layers and I will create a new layer, and let's call this light. And then I will switch to the brushes and I will make sure that the hardness set to 100 and the size, maybe depending on the resolution of your file. For me, I think this around 3 or 4 pixels, they will work. And I will make sure that the opacity is set to 100 with 100 flow. And then I will switch to the pen tool by pressing P. And then I will right click and choose stroke path while I'm having all the lines in here. Now you will find this option simulate pressure checked or unchecked. For me now, I want it to be unchecked. So I'm gonna make sure that is unchecked and I will press OK. And as you can see, now we have the line set as a black color, which is a very important thing. Let me go back and undo that. Now make sure that you have the color that you wanted to use. For me, I think I will use this orangey or yellowish color in here, maybe a little bit brighter, and I will press OK. Now we'll do the same. I will right click and choose stroke path, and I will press OK. Alright, now this is exactly what I wanted. Now we'll go to filter, blur, and I will choose Gaussian blur, and I will put the radius a little bit low, maybe around 5. Let me see, maybe around 4 or 3. Yeah, let's keep it 4 for now. And then I will change the blending mode of this linear dodge add, and then we'll open the blending options, and I will go to the blend if, and I will make sure that I'm selecting the underline layer, and then I'm gonna press Alt or Option, and I will split this to make it blend even better. Just like that. And maybe uncheck transparency shape layer and press OK. Alright, now we have more highlights. Now I'm gonna drop down the opacity a little bit more, like 70. Now I'm gonna create another layer, and I will call it light again. And then I will go back to the path that we created, and I will make it select it again. And then I will go back to the layers, and this time I will make sure that I'm selecting the brush, and then I will right click, and this time I will put like 2 pixels for the brushes, and then I will open the brush presets or the settings of the brush, and I will select shape dynamic, and I will make sure to set the control to paint pressure. This is very important. And then I will go back to the pen tool. While I have the same color in here set from earlier, I will right click and choose stroke path again. And this time I will make sure that simulate pressure is on, and I will press OK. Now if I press escape on my keyboard, you can see this really nice fade lines in here. Now we'll change the blending mode of it to color dodge or linear dodge. Let's see. And let's keep it linear dodge. And again, I will open the blending options, and I will split this underline layer to blend it even more, just like that. And I will uncheck transparency, and I'll press OK. And there we go. If you think this is a little bit strong, you can always go and put down the fill or the opacity for your convenience. So I think around 60%, it will look really cool. Alright, now we only need to add some adjustment, and this would be really cool and ready to go. Alright, so let's group these 2 lights together, and let's call this lights, and let's actually put it in the group of the silhouette of our girl, just like that. I think, yeah, it looks really cool. Now I want to apply a little bit of adjustment on the girl, but in this one. So I will go and open the other layer, and I will create a level adjustment, and I will make sure to put it under the level or the color fill in here. And I will open the levels, and I want to make it a little bit playing with the tones a little bit, just like this. And we can always go back and fix this more later. Yeah, but I think it looks really cool in overall. Now we'll go on top of everything, and I will apply a gradient map adjustment. So I will open the gradient. In the black stop, I will change it to an orangey color. Yeah, dark orangey color like that. And for the white color, I will change it to a bluish color, just like this one. Just to follow the theme of the night. And maybe something like that. I think it will look really cool. Now I'm gonna change the blending mode of these to soft light. And then I will drop down the opacity to 0, and I will start going up a little bit by little. And I think around 40% it will look really cool, as you can see. Alright, one thing I wanted to add is a little bit of colors. Maybe I will go and choose color balance, and let's play with the colors, maybe a little bit more warmth toward the red, and maybe a little bit of green, with a little bit of yellow to have that warm color. Alright, I think it looks really interesting. Alright. Maybe you can go and play with the highlights too. Yeah, I think it looks very nice. Let's see before and after. Maybe drop down the opacity a little bit. Alright, let's go and add another adjustment. Let's go and choose curves. This time I will go to the red. Let me see, maybe I will add a little bit of cyan. And a little bit of red here. Maybe exaggerate the red a little bit. And then I will go to the blue. And let's add a little bit of yellow. And let's see the green to create that orangey look. Alright, something like that. Now I'm gonna invert this layer mask by pressing Ctrl+Command+I. And using my brush, I will make sure that I have a soft blur with 40% opacity, with 40% flow. And I would add more highlights to the whole thing. Yeah, something like that to have that glowy effect appear more and more. But I don't want to be on the face of the girl. I will delete this part. And maybe I would put down the opacity a little bit to 50%. Alright, something like that. Now I'm gonna take a stamp visible layer by pressing Ctrl+Shift+Alt+E or Command+Shift+Option+E all together. And this will create a new file or a new layer on top of everything, which is basically a snapshot of what you have in your canvas. Alright, now I will right click and convert this to Smart Object. And then I will go to Filter and I will choose Blur Gallery, Iris Blur. Let's add a little bit of blur to the edges of our image, just to have the focus set on the girl and on the tree. I'm using Alt or Option to actually move these points along, just like that. Alright, I think it looks really cool. And I will press OK. And there we go. So let me group everything together. Let's see before and after. I think it looks really interesting, and I might go and add more details maybe, and that will be all. So I hope that you enjoy and you like this video and it was a little bit helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, and you know wait for more to come, and have a nice day. Happy Christmas.